welcome to the Team Ottawa podcast. I'm here with Mayor Mark Sutcliffe, and this is the news we wanted, Mayor. Our Sens are headed to the playoffs.
It's incredible. And when you go back to January, they were, I think, in last place in the conference or second last place. And everybody was saying they had, I think those sites where they do the odds of teams making the playoffs, they were at 9% or something like that. And now here we are just a couple of months later, and they're going to the playoffs for the second year in a row. They've had this great run. They've had the best record in the NHL over the last 2 months. This is really exciting for our city. And the thing, look, I'm a huge Senators fan. I've been a fan since we got the team. It's really fun for me to watch. But the other thing that I think about is just how good it is for our city when the Senators are in the playoffs. They're our only team in any of the four major professional sports leagues in North America. We're going to talk about the 67s and the Charge in a moment as well. So there's lots of reasons to be excited about playoff hockey in the spring in Ottawa. And it's so big for our economy when the Senators do well. It's so good for civic pride. It's boosts everybody's spirits. I've been chatting with people over the last couple of weeks as I've been out in the community who have been fired up about the chances of them making the playoffs, and then they finally did. We are reopening the Sens Mile as we do whenever they make the playoffs. We did it last year for the first time in 7 or 8 years. You're going to see people in restaurants. I remember this from last year. I went to a bunch of different restaurants on Elgin Street and other parts of the city. People are gathering for the games. They're having a great time. The Senators are opening the plaza outside the arena for the road games. It's just so great for our local economy. And on top of that, it's just great that our hockey team is in the playoffs.
100%. And you mentioned as well our Ottawa 67s. They are obviously playoff bound as well. And then, of course, our Charge.
Yeah.
Yes.
The 67s are in the second round of the playoffs now, and it didn't get off to a great start, but we're still hopeful. And then the Charge had a big win last weekend in Toronto, where they beat Toronto. And look, anytime an Ottawa team is beating a Toronto team, that's good for me. And now they're competing for a playoff spot with a few games left in the season. So we could, and remember last year we did a Charge Mile as well on Bank Street outside Lansdowne. And so we have the potential to do that again this year if the Charge make the playoffs. So lots to be excited about, and we're very proud of all of our hockey teams.
100%. Beautifully said. We'll shift gears a little bit. There was some big news, of course, last December. You met with the Prime Minister. You signed a really impressive deal in regards to Build Homes Canada. But there's new news now.
Yeah, this is exciting. We going back to December, as you mentioned, we had the Mayor's Breakfast with Prime Minister Mark Carney. 1,100 people attended that event at the Rogers Centre. It was a record-setting event, and the Prime Minister and I signed an agreement in principle for Ottawa to be the first city in Canada to work with Build Canada Homes to build housing, including affordable housing. And we made a commitment that we would each put money towards this objective. And then for the last couple of months, our teams at the city and at the federal government have been working out the details of the deal, and it's finally been formalized and it was brought back to a special committee meeting of City Council. Our Finance Committee and our Planning Committee met to receive details about the deal and to consider it, and it passed unanimously. So every member of both committees voted in favor of this agreement. It's a $400 million agreement that will see 3,000 new homes built in Ottawa in the next roughly 2 years, 3,000 homes in the space of a couple of years, and more than 50% of those homes are going to be affordable, including some deeply affordable homes by the definition that the federal government uses for affordability. So this is really exciting. It means, if you take a step back and think about a young family starting out their lives and they have the chance to buy a new home. If you think about someone who has been in need of supportive housing because of a mental health or a substance use issue, we will have more supportive housing units. If you think of people who are not able to make ends meet and need need something in the affordable housing category, we have a wait list for those people. This is going to open up more units for individuals in need. So it's a very exciting deal. And then you think about the business side of it too. 3,000 new homes being constructed in our city is great news for contractors, construction companies, the people who work in the trades. So it's a great deal all around, and I'm proud to move it forward. It'll be going to City Council soon. But I'm very proud of this deal that I signed with the Prime Minister, and to have the unanimous support of City Council colleagues on it is really appreciated.
And I think residents will really be impressed as well at the speed that this is going to be done. Some things feel so far in the future, but the speed is really impressive.
Yeah, and we're taking advantage of the fact that the federal government owns a lot of land in Ottawa. So this is the starting point of using some of that land to build housing. As you know, because we're the nation's capital, the federal government has a lot of property. Some of it is still being put to good use, some of it not so much. And if we can take advantage of some of that property and build homes, we're going to move as quickly as we can to approve those homes so that it's not being held up in the planning process at the city. As you know, I always say we're saying yes to housing. We want to be the most housing-friendly city in the country. Part of that is to approve new projects like this as quickly as possible, and we're going to do that.
And, you know, in the same vein, in terms of people that are finding themselves homeless at this time, there's been some investments there as well.
Yeah, look, I don't know if there's anything about which I've received more feedback since I became mayor than the pledge that I made in the fall of last year to end youth homelessness in Ottawa by 2030. This is an audacious goal, it's an ambitious goal, but it actually is an achievable goal. And just a few days ago, I was at an event here at City Hall with Operation Come Home. They made an announcement that they now have, it's complicated to describe this program, but they have a program called Housing Works, and they work with landlords to make units available for people in need, for homeless individuals, including youth. And as of not so long ago, a few months back, they had about 41 of these units available. Now they have over 180. And if we can get that number up to 300, 350, something in that range, there will be no more homeless youth in our city. So this is a huge step forward. Going from 40 to 180 is a huge step forward to finding housing for every single person who might be, every single young person who might be experiencing homelessness. So that's a really important initiative. Another step on the path to ending homelessness in our city is to have more supportive housing. So, as you know, it's unfortunate that we have to say this, but housing alone is not a solution for everyone.
So
everybody needs to have a house, a place to call home, a safe place to be. But for some individuals who have, have experienced the toxic drug crisis, have experienced mental illness, a home alone is not enough. We need to have the supports in place to give them the tools they need to be successful and have the resources around them to be successful. So supportive housing is critical. And about a week ago at City Council, I introduced a motion. I don't introduce a lot of motions at Council, but this was important. I introduced a motion to double the speed at which we are building supportive housing in our city. We had a plan to build something like 550 units over the next 10 years. That would mean that there would be people who are on the waiting list today who would have to wait a decade before they're in a supportive unit. We can't wait that long. Mm-hmm. So we're going to come up with a plan to double the speed at which we're building supportive housing units. So we're building all of those units within 5 years instead of 10 years. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of step we need to take to truly end homelessness in our city. So there's a lot of different initiatives underway. There's a lot of momentum. And what I'm really excited about is just the collaboration that we're seeing in the community, how people have lined up behind these pledges and these objectives. They're unified. Everybody's doing their part. People are raising money. People are delivering services. People are creating new ideas that are going to help us tackle this problem. It's really exciting.
Well, they say it takes a village, right?
It does.
And very impressive. Thank you so much, Mayor. Appreciate your time today.
Always a pleasure, Sam. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us for the Team Ottawa podcast with Mayor Mark Sutcliffe.